all so much for coming. We, as a center, we really do appreciate all of your lovely patronage, and we hope you'll be here for the next plays and the plays after that, and well, whatever we do. Well, guess we better start it then.
Thank you.
So, Owen, before the audience gets here, I really wanted to talk to you. I know you wrote this excellent play.
I know, I worked so hard, right?
I know, writing's a lot of work. But see, we have a problem.
Oh? I didn't think there was.
Sherlock Holmes has no sense of humor. Our audience has come to expect humor.
What audience? They're not here yet.
Well, I know, but they will be when it's time. And the point is, I tweak things just a little bit, just a touch of humor here and there, nothing
What?
major.
I'm gonna tell them not to clap when they get here, because you changed it.
A tweak, just a little tweak.
All right.
Showtime. Enjoy. In the dim early light of an October morning in 1904, rain wept from the clouds of the gray, austere London sky. Not all was well at 221B Baker Street, for Holmes was in a similarly overcast mood. He'd not had a case in 2 weeks, at least not what he called a good case. Huffing and puffing about the house for so long had put him in such an ill-tempered malaise that his steadfast companion, Dr. John Watson, was glad to content himself by going to the market.
Am I truly bothering you so much? So much you'd go all the way to Orson Street Market on the other side of town to get away from me?
What do you want about Holmes?
This brand of tobacco is only sold at Dr. Hammond's Medicinal Menagerie on Orson Street.
Oh, very long. Can I put this down, please?
Oh, go ahead. By all means.
Well, you know, you've been so very pell-mell as of late, and tense and everything. I thought I would pick you up something special.
Gosh,
So
never
you
mind.
calm your nerves.
Never mind that, eh? Orson Street Market is an open road of stores, and it's hailing outside. The general store has a big old roof on top of it, and yet, look at how soaked you are.
Don't knock off my hat.
Your hat, your big stupid hat, your big stupid jacket, your big stupid groceries. You went all the way to Orson Street to get away from me.
Now
It
we
was
gotta
a
figure it out.
sublime relief to both men when they heard the approach of a cab outside. You know, that slow, romping sound of horse hooves coming to a quiet stop amidst the pitter-patter of the rain.
Oh.
Homer's always looked, at least to Watson, like the strangest sort of cat when he would mount the sofa to look out the window. He'd only act that way when he hadn't had a good case, or his pipe.
Well, now, what could make a rich American so distressed that he'd come all disordered to us from Paddington Station?
How do you figure that, Holmes?
I deduce his distress and his nationality by the fact he just tried to pay the driver in American dollars. Before, of course, now he's recalling which pocket held his pounds. As for his coming from Paddington, carriage has that station's livery all over it.
John Watson was able to make out a middle-aged man, snappy in a masterfully tailored suit and matching hair.
Yes.
Watson then saw a pleasing sight, a rare sight even in this very great and dull time, for his friend Sherlock Holmes was smiling. A thing he had not seen since time got going. A firm, solid nose
interesting. Door knocks are sort of like handshakes, and you can recognize things about a man by listening to them. You hear that firm, practical sound? Yes.
While you're deducing who it is, can we answer the door?
Go ahead. Well, we're about to be greeted by a businessman, some professional, practical man. Open it.
Internally, while John Watson was quietly relieved to see his friend return to his amiable best in anticipation of this new challenge, he found
Mr.
himself
Holmes?
praying it would be a case worthy of his tense energies.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes. No, no,
Benedict
no.
Masterson.
Benedict, I'm sorry, I'm not Mr. Holmes. This, I'm Dr. Watson, this is there.
Clearly. Good to meet you, sir.
What's your name now?
Benedict Masterson.
Ah, all right. Come now, Mr. Masterson, and we'll
There you go.
tell us your story, Mr. Benedict Masterson.
Watson reached for the brandy for Mr. Masterson.
Yes, we'll give him some brandy. A valued client like ours needs some.
Mr. Holmes, I wish for you to act for me in a business both mysterious and distressing.
You better take that brandy then, Mr. Masterson, and tell us everything.
I am the Chief Executive Officer of the California Standard Metal and Mineral Exchange Company. My father owned small mines in Nevada, which afforded us a comfortable living. On my part, through judicious trading, I've made these assets yield a fortune.
Yes, go on.
I came to London last week because your own Bank of England made an order for substantial quantity of gold bars to boost their reserves.
Very interesting. Continue, Mr. Masterson.
The bullion was shipped into Bristol Harbor and loaded quite early this morning onto a chartered London train for transfer to the bank. I went to Paddington Station this morning to meet the consignment. The train was there. The gold was not.
I see. Stolen then, a larceny. How much was the gold worth?
We're talking $3.8 million.
Goodness, that's a hefty sum. Tell us it was insured.
Fortunately, yes, Mr. Watson. But being a medical man, I'm sure you know the insurance companies are ever suspicious. Besides, circumstances of the theft are rather strange.
The details, Mr. Masterson, please.
Yes, Scott Watson, this is the Holmes I know.
Well, I had asked to commission a special, an overnight train. I was offered the use of a passenger line, which returns from Bristol to London once a week. Among the railway men at Paddington, its colloquial nickname is the Bad Luck Special. Not because it normally consists of 13 cards.
Oh my.
Ah, yes, a number which the superstitious seem to find questionable. But I assume a practical door-knocking businessman such as yourself would have taken precautions on the gold.
Just so. I ordered that the gold be packed in steel containers. Each one locked with a unique key. Gold, gentlemen, is a weighty metal. So each box only contained as many bars as would allow 2 men to carry each one. I ensured that while they were small enough to pass through the carriage doors, pardon me,
The carriage doors, yes.
at the sides of the train, they were too large to pass through the windows or the doors connecting the coaches. Even if completely open. The side doors were locked from the outside, so they could not be opened until the train reached London.
So the only people aboard were the engineer and firemen of the train?
No, Mr. Holmes,
No.
with my commission of the Bad Luck Special, I asked that a guard be assigned to my shipment. To this end, all the boxes were loaded into the last coach of the train. Coach 13.
Just so.
There, at least, I thought the guard could keep a constant watch on them.
Coach 13. And who was the guard assigned to Coach 13?
Lyons. The man's called Lyons. Mr. Donald Lyons, a trusted man at Paddington. I asked if he had ever worked on the French railways. You know, guard Lyons. You see, Gare de Lyon.
Yes, the train station.
in Paris.
The train station in Paris. Yes, go on, Mr. Masterson.
Well, forgive me, gentlemen. I can never resist a pun. To continue, the train left Bristol at 3 this morning as scheduled. But when it arrived at Paddington at 6, the consignment of gold was gone. Mr. Holmes, this was an impossible robbery. The train stopped only once for a minute, or so, to take on water. It was hardly enough time to unload a single box of bullion, let alone 100 of things.
What of the guard, Mr. Lyons?
Lyons claimed he fell asleep some way into the journey and awoke to find the gold gone.
Very suspicious.
They're holding him at Paddington, along with the fireman and engineer, but all 3 men protest their innocence.
What of any other suspects? Can you think of anyone in the California Standard Metal and Mineral Exchange Company who would seek to take advantage of you? You look uneasy, Mr. Masterson.
Well, if I may confide something to you, sirs, in the utmost confidence,
Yes.
my estranged wife quite some bitterness in this respect.
I see.
However, I know Maureen well enough to doubt that she is a thief.
Very well, Mr. Masterson. Dr. Watson and I will certainly take the case on. Would you be so kind as to wire Bristol Station and inform them we are on our way?
Certainly, sir. Forgive me, Mr. Holmes. As I say, well, gentlemen, I surely thank you. I can think of no better hands in which to lead the case of the bad luck special than those of Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock Holmes. You should know, I never leave anything to chance, Mr. Masterson. Logic and reason are the tools I prefer to employ.
Forgive me, Mr. Holmes, as I have failed to attract funds.
Well, you may leave now then.
I shall.
Take your puns elsewhere, will you? I hated that now.
The wheels gently turned. The clock at Paddington Station read 11:56. It had not even been an hour since Benedict Masterson appealed for the help of Mr. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Owen Watson. The latter two were prepared to load a train to Bristol. Walking past crowds of travelers at Paddington, they discussed Mr. Masterson's fascinating story.
An intriguing mystery, is it not, Holmes?
Yes, Watson, that it is. Now, I found particular interest in that guard, Lyons, falling asleep on the job. Now, what sort of competent railwayman would do such a negligent thing as that?
Well, perhaps he was not as competent. Do you suspect him?
I suspect you're trying to get me to come to a premature conclusion, and one must never do that without proper data.
Well, since we're here at Paddington, I suppose you mean to inspect the bad luck special.
No. As I said, I would like to gather more data before embarking on that leg of our journey. We're headed now for Bristol Station, where the train departed from the harbor, and we'll make our checks there.
You don't have your pipe, Holmes. I took you to be so tense as of late.
You're right. Well, I surely feel better.
The gray clouds were still weeping like bullets when they arrived by train at Bristol Station. There, they met the foreman, Mr. George Willis. Mr. Willis was an amiable man in his 50s who struck them with a reassuring sense of having been on his job for a lifetime. He knew the business with uncommon breadth. This considered, they couldn't help noticing his haggardness. He looked painfully weary.
I apologize to you gentlemen for my appearance. I was on the night shift seeing out the bad luck special, and I was just about to go off to bed when word came from London about the theft. I've not even been home to bed yet.
Oh my, well, we won't keep you long, Mr. Willis. Only a few inquiries. I understand you were here overseeing the loading of the gold onto the bad luck special.
That's right, Mr. Holmes. I watched them being loaded up at this very spot. When it was done, I sent the signal for them to be joined up to the rest of the train.
Did you say joined up? That's odd. Coach 13 was not attached while being loaded up.
No, sir, it was strengthened out to the siding and coupled up just before departure.
Oh, well. Who were the men who brought them in?
Tommy Milton, the engineer, and Calvin Fitzpatrick. Yes, I couldn't think of his name. Yes.
It must be the firemen.
Yes, they are.
Milton the engineer, and Fitzpatrick the fireman. You go on, sir.
Well, not so much a fixture as myself, Mr. Holmes, but they've been around best part of, 10 years. I think they sound men in any case.
Well, thank you, Mr. Willis. Now I'd like to ask you about the gold itself. About how many men were at work loading the gold onto the train?
Well, sir, it was quite an operation. 2 men inside the carriage, 2 outside. Damn heavy things those buggers were. Oh, those boxes were almost more than 2 men could carry. Something like 200 pounds each. And real awkward to fit them, though. They had to put them through narrow doors. They did a hell of a job.
Well, how long would you say they worked? How long did the job take?
It must have been about 80 minutes. Or about 1/2 midnight when they started, and 1/4 before 2 as they finished.
Any delays before departure?
Not that I know of. No, sir, there wasn't. Mr. Watson, Dr. Watson, excuse me. The rest of the train, as I say, was reversed in from the siding, and Don Lyons got aboard. The doors were locked from the outside as per instructions.
Your client, Mr. Masterson, informed me the train stopped for water en route.
Yes, sir. The special was scheduled to stop for a minute. Only a minute. And swindled them to take on water at Hangman's Hill. So he didn't stop for any longer than that. There was no doubt it was the first thing to be checked.
Well, Mr. Willis, my friend and I are surely thankful for your detailed recollections. I'll leave you to return home and get some sleep for yourself.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Holmes, thank you. But if you had taken the case, they'd surely have my job by now if you hadn't been given the case. I'd never work in the railroad again if they thought that I had some hand in that theft. I'll be trying the old English charm to get you boys special rate tickets to London.
Thank you, Mr. Willis.
Thank you. Goodbye, sir.
Goodbye, sir.
It was still raining when they arrived back at Paddington, an arrival on the back of a 50% discounted ticket. Upon said arrival, Holmes insisted he be able to speak to the railway man who oversaw the transit of the Bad Luck Special. Tommy Milton, that was, Calvin Fitzpatrick, and of course Don Lyons. That meeting took place in a cramped, dank office in one of the decidedly grim outer platforms.
You must be Mr. Lyons, the guard?
Yes, Mr. Holmes. I've no doubt from what you've heard, you think me a thief. I am not. But I did abandon my duties, and for that, I guess I may deserve what comes next.
I want to assure you, Mr. Lyons, my mission here is to uncover the truth, and uncover it I will. If you are innocent, as you claim, you have nothing to fear from the law. Tell me though, how do you think you so failed in your duties?
I was to keep an eye on the shipment, wasn't I, sir? But I fell asleep on the job, which I do not make a habit of. But my wife and I, we have a new baby boy. So proud. I take his little picture with me everywhere I go.
What's wrong with that monkey?
He's a bonny lad. He's just, but a handful? Oh, my word. He takes all my energy. I was so tired last night.
And then you awoke to find the gold disappeared.
A nightmare, a bloody nightmare. I should have asked the engineer to stop the train immediately. But when I awoke, I was in a fog.
Well, how long do you think you slept?
I've been thinking on that.
Have you?
I do. Tried to figure it out. remember going through Hangman's Hills and past Swindon. And then, when I woke up, we were 18 miles down the rail and well past the water station.
Wow.
That's all I can remember. Sorry I can't be of more help.
Sure you are. Both of you, show me your hands if you will, and step forward. Oh. Well, you must be Calvin Fitzpatrick, the fireman.
Yes, sir.
And you
How
must
do you
be...
know that, Holmes?
How do I know that?
How do you know they both have soot on their hands?
Oh, no. One is soot and one is oil. What sort of engineer would have his hands stained with soot? What sort of fireman with oil, eh? You must be the fireman and you must be the engineer.
She's right, sir. I've been a fireman here at Paddington for 11 years. I was on the special last night, as you know. I swear, sirs, I was in the boiler room all night long. I had no idea what was going on with the gold.
And when you stopped for water in Swindon, Mr. Fitzpatrick, did you notice anything strange?
Oh, no, sir. It was a very dark night. There was a lot of thick clouds out last night and there was no moon. The only light that there was the fire from the boiler. You couldn't even see 20 yards in front of the train.
All right. You must be the engineer. Tommy Milton is your name?
Yes, Dad.
You drove the Bad Luck Special last night.
Yes, Mr. Holmes. I've driven her for 7 years now. Been a driver for 11.
Okay. And can you confirm everything your colleagues have said?
Yes, Gov. When we stopped to take on water up there in Hangman's Ridge, Hangman's Hill,
Just so.
the tracks were pitch black. The only light was that of the signalman. The guy that shows the lantern.
Signalman. The signalman's light.
Yeah, the guy that shows the lantern.
Just so.
And you know how it is in the Hangman, the ghosts, goblins, ghouls, leprechauns, fairies, and all kinds of things.
Ghosts, goblins, and ghouls, leprechauns, with their unicorns too? Don't be preposterous.
I don't know about that, Gov. But, you know, the sound travels real far, echoing, chains rattling, clanking, all kinds of, that might have been what I chalked up the noise to.
The noise from the gold being stolen at the back of the train.
I don't know.
Well, if you would, Mr. Lyons, I would like now your account of yester evening.
Well, my shift started at midnight. I went down to the railway men's canteen, had myself a brown ale, good way to start off a job. And then headed on, 2 sandwiches and 10 coffee.
To just coffee and sandwiches that you brought on board the train?
Well, there were the coffee, 2 sandwiches, and a seed cake. If that's not too much information for you.
There is no such thing as too much information. Well, sometimes.
So, 1:30, I went on down to the products,
The
excuse
goods,
me, the goods platform.
just so.
They were almost completed, loading up the gold onto coach 13. They reversed the car off from the side. Mr. Willis came down then to give us final instructions. So for Calvin and Tommy, he said, we are cleared straight through to London. 1 stop for water, and train schedules being as tight as they are, make it short, get back on the track, and let's go. So they were done, they were finished with the gold. At 3 o'clock, they locked me in with the gold, and we took off. Probably about half an hour later, beef, so I had the sandwiches, a couple of sips of coffee, hoping that would like maybe wake me up. Sat down, started thinking about my wife and his son Percy. And, well, sir, you know the rest.
Oh, that I do, Mr. Lyons. That I do. But now I must leave. You three are free to go. Watson, the time has come to confront the bad luck special and begin our investigation of Coach 13.
If you wish, this is the perfect time for a 10-minute intermission. I was gonna say, if no one leaves, it'll be a shorter
How Polly?
You betcha.
I hope they'd be doing the Pac-12. That's a possibility. We got 2 Cali teams, maybe more.
What do you think of the play?
Not yet. Not yet. I'm trying to figure things out. Well, I'm not enjoying it. I just haven't enjoyed the filming of it. So I'm trying to figure things out.
I'm just about as Sherlock. The baby picture was me.
How'd your head get smaller?